my motivators family. How are you doing? It's Marlene Motivates, and I am your life coach. And I'm going to have a special guest that's going to be joining me very shortly, and we will wait for her. But in the meantime, I hope you guys are doing great. Happy Friday, and welcome to a great topic that me and my co-hosts are going to be having. I'm really looking forward to it. So, while I wait for my co hosts, I'm just going to greet everybody and see how you guys are doing. To all of the Motivators family, I hope your week went very well. And I'm ready for this topic, what we're going to talk about. Today's topic is a fine line between love and hate. And I'm looking forward to sharing the topic with my co-host and getting into the topic and everything. So while we wait for my co-host, I'm going to greet everybody, say hello, and then we're going to get into talking about this topic. So I hope you guys are doing great and you guys had an amazing, amazing week. Um, I wanted to do this topic. Okay, here is my co-host. Hey, Lara, how are you doing? My co-host. Okay, I see you, Gio, but I think you're frozen. I
No,
want to
I'm
see.
not. Not to me. Oh, I see on the. No, it's back. I'm back. That's you, froze.
Well, oh, it's back now. Okay. Hey, Gio, how are you doing?
Hey. I'm good. How are you? I just didn't understand. I was like, what happened? I didn't know until I went back and I said, let me go back and see if she said anything in the chat thing.
So I was in the other stream and it wouldn't let me turn my camera on and it wouldn't let me talk. So
Oh, wow.
whatever. So I wanted to say thanks to Gio. What channel do you want to shout out today, Gio?
Friends with Super Channels. I'm going to shout out Friends with Super Channels. It is where I invite, it's what I do a lot of advertising for all of my friends that are on uh, this platform, as well as all of my channel members. So if you want to assure that you get a shout out from me, like a featured channel shout out, or a I love you shout out, or a I'm for this channel shout out, also channel member shout out. All you have to do is just join my channel membership over there, and I will give you a shout out. And sometimes I give shout outs to people that actually come over every time I put up a video or go live, they're there. So sometimes I do that as well.
That's awesome, Gio. So I want to greet everybody in the chat. Hi, Lara. Hi, Carol. How's everybody doing today? Um, So, me and Gio are going to cover this topic, a fine line between love and hate. And before we get started with that, there's a lot of things that can happen between two people. It can be in your family, it can be with a friend, it could be with a romantic partner. Things can happen that just like that, you can go from love to hate, just like that for some of the things that me and Gio are going to talk about. It's a fine line. It really doesn't take a lot to have things go all the way left and for people to hate one another.
Yeah,
Want to add
that's true.
anything?
Yeah, I'm just going to say that is so true, Marlene. It happens in a lot of families. It happens between friends to where people want to just really, it really do something to you. And it's that thin line, it's really kind of hard to explain unless you've been there. you know,
Mhm.
and even if you have been there, it's still hard to explain, you
Still
know.
hard to explain. Mhm. So, Gio, we're going to be talking about this fine line between love and hate, and some of the things that happens with us when we, you know, when we go from this love to a hate. What are some of the things that happen that make people go from love to hate? And the first one I think is that people try to forget to spend quality time together. Like they take basically taking one another for granted. I think that's a big problem for a lot of people in all relationships. You know, you have to spend time together, and I think that's a big problem why people go from love to hate. You know, they stop spending time together, you know, and doing all of the things that they used to do, especially a romantic relationship. People have no problem with trying to get somebody to be in a relationship with, but they forget that you have to do things to keep the relationship up.
Well, that's true too, but my biggest one is betrayal.
Hmm.
Okay, betrayal, separating, and especially within the family. For me, I'm talking about only me. All right, and when one family member do something that's so outrageous that split the family, that
Hmm.
is a thin line, between love and hate. Because on one side of it, you do love the person, the family member, but on the other side, you really kind of hate them because they split the family and then they lied, on the other family member, which almost drove her insane. She almost lost it. So here you is, love, hate, love, hate. You know what I'm saying? And even though I know to forgive that person, but that still don't mean that I don't feel that. Don't it don't mean that I don't want to go over there and slap this person upside the head.
Yeah.
It don't mean that I want to go over there and choke them down, or do something specifically that will hurt them back.
Hmm.
All I have to say to that and to that family member is you better be glad I got recovery and that I'm not the same Geo I was back in my 20s and 30s. That I am a precious child of God today. And it's just when I think about the action that they did, it still gets that. And that's because it just recently happened. I think that time will heal.
You
Time
think
time
you think
heals a time heals a lot of things. It will never be the same relationship, Marlene. But I think that time heals a lot of things because I know that from my own experience. It's just going to take time because it's too recent. But I don't think that time is going to heal what that person done, but it will heal me to the point where I can say, okay, I forgive this person, but I got a side eye on them.
right?
Because it will never be the same. The relationship that we had before, fun time, doing everything we wanted to do, talking noise, no, we ain't gonna do nothing, your road dog girlfriend, buddy, you know what I'm saying? And then there's that betrayal. It's a
Yes.
thin line between love and hate. Let me tell you, because I just went through that and I'm still mad, as you can tell,
Yeah. Yes.
because I, I cannot understand what would make a person do that kind of betrayal to hurt another family member when they know that that family member didn't do nothing.
Mm.
To
Well,
me, I'm
you
just
know,
saying, to me, they must hate that person.
Well, I think honestly, when things like that happen with family members or whoever it is, I think the issue always starts with that individual. If a person doesn't love themselves, or a combination, or if that person has some mental issues, People really don't like to think about those things, but sometimes the people that we love, they're not mentally stable.
I don't care if she mentally stable or not. She shouldn't have done it. Okay, that's why I'm at with it real, real. I ain't on here trying to sugarcoat the darn thing because it's that thin line between love and hate. You know, you love, and this is my second time going through this. Okay. And it took me a long time to forgive. Okay. This other person. All right. So, but with time and working on and having the right tools to work on something like that, I did forgive. But it's so recent till I don't want to forgive. I just want to go over there and kick some butt. That's
They- yeah.
that's how it really is, you know. And I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one. If people are dishonest with themselves or just plain out honest, you know, you have to be that too in order to get over things. You cannot be lying to yourself. Oh, I forgive them. Oh, yeah, that's the best thing to do. No, it's a grieving thing too,
It is.
because once a person do betrayal to you and they were really close to you, they were a family member or they were a good friend of 18, 20 years, and they betray you, that's a loss.
Mhm.
So you got two things going on, you know, and if you don't understand what is happening to you, you will always hate that person. But I understand that it's a loss for
Mhm.
me.
Yep. Yes, and I'm glad that you brought this up, Gio. In talking about that thin line between love and hate, when we talk about the betrayal, when someone betrays you, that you lose trust, you get backstabbed, you just it's just never going to be the same. Even if you can find it in your heart to forgive them, you're always going to be like, you did something to me before. How do I know you're not going to do something again? So you like, you may forgive people, especially if it's somebody that you have to deal with on a regular basis, like a relative, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you're going to the trust will ever be the same. The trust can ever be repaired. It's one of those things that you can forgive a person, but you forgive them, and at the same time you have to let them go, because you can't let people keep hurting you.
True. And see, that's because I spent so much time in therapy with the first betrayal. I understand where I'm at with all of this, and I don't get on myself and say, oh, you need to do better. You need to feel this. No, I'm going to feel everything I need to feel to get through this, you know.
Mhm.
And I know eventually I will forgive this family member, but it will never be the same because what they did was outrageous.
Yep.
What
Yep.
they did was just they split the family. Nobody want to have nothing to do with them. Nobody don't trust them, and you know, and everybody that's saying, "Well, we don't want to have anything to do because they might do that to me too." You know what I'm saying? And it's just it's very hurtful,
Hard.
and it's such a
Yeah.
loss to everybody. I be trying because I've been through this and worked through it before. I tell my family that it's yes, it is a betrayal, but the bigger thing is underneath that betrayal, it's a loss because
Yes.
all this person always was at everything we had. We all had a good time, and we was just like this. We thought, okay, and then when somebody like that do something that's out of this world like that, just unthinkable. It's nobody want to have nothing to do with them. I don't. I have changed my phone number. I ain't
Yep.
giving it out. I don't want to. I'm
Yep.
not ready to. You know,
To go
I'm
back.
still
Yes.
trying to process it. Like, What in the world? What's wrong with you? And yeah, she might be crazy. But like I said, that ain't my problem. My problem is taking care of Geo. That's
Yeah,
what I need to do is making sure I'm okay and that I keep my feelings intact so I won't go over there and do the beat down.
yeah. And that is the difference, I think, between the difference between a healthy version of you and a toxic version of you. I know before when I was in that space of toxicity, oh, I see Real Odds and Evans came in. Hey, how are you doing? He says, I definitely understand though. Family will do that. Sometimes you just got to you got to let them go. Yeah,
Yeah,
I understand that part. And that's the thing, Gio, is there's certain people that you can just let them go very easily because you don't have to deal with them on a regular basis. But when it comes to relatives that, you're going to see them at some point. It's not
yeah,
like a person that you know for work or somebody that you may know on social media that you can just say whatever and be done with them. But when it comes to your own blood relative, you may be able to like not talk to them all the time, but you're still at some point gonna have to deal with them in the future.
right.
So the whole thing, the point of this conversation is, what are you going to do when you face people once again? Are you going to let that anger bubble up inside of you and just go off? And and
Yeah,
it's easy because you want to.
yeah. But the thing is, I know that today I have better tools today. And I know that's not going to solve anything. But that don't stop me from wanting to, but I
Yeah.
won't do it. But another thing is I want to say is that when you're grieving a betrayal, give yourself time to grieve it so that you don't do nothing bad to that other person. And that's what I'm doing. I'm giving myself time. When I had my other phone number, I blocked them because I couldn't compute. I couldn't. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? It was just too much. And then I said, let me just block both of them. Okay. Because I don't want to hear nothing. I'm already messed up. It is time for me to take care of myself. So it was just by the stroke of God and my mentor and everything else that called me, and we was just talking about it. And he mentioned you should get another phone number, and then that way there won't be no slip up. So I thought about what he said, and I was like, let me just go and do that because
Hmm.
my phone number was out of Las Vegas anyway, because I was living there for quite a while at one time, and I just never changed the number. But I was also tired of people calling me that lived in Las Vegas, and I'm 2 hours ahead. You know what I'm saying? I'm asleep at 10 or 11, but they still up 2 hours after me. So that was another reason I wanted to change. And plus, I'm never moving back to Las Vegas, no way. So I just changed my number to a Texas number. And I'm
Okay.
kind of glad I did because now none of them don't have my number,
Hmm.
and I don't have to worry about if they gonna call me from another number because I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm just not ready to talk to them. And if I did, I would be very honest with myself. I am not responsible for what comes out of my mouth when if I had to talk to them today. I'm
Yeah.
not, I ain't even got through the grieving process of the loss. I think I'm still in that anger mode. Because it's 5 stages to the grieving process. And because that's why I say I'm gonna need time. No, I was just saying that's why I said I'm gonna need time to process and heal. So take it on, Marlene. Go ahead. I done talked enough.
No, you're doing just fine. And I like the comment that Miss Carol put in here that time is a very good counselor. We really do. When things happen, part of being mature and wise as a woman or as a man, you it's nothing wrong with taking a break so you can get your mind together and make a smart decision, because when you get upset, when someone does something to us to hurt us, to offend us, to backstab us, if you go and you deal with it right then in that moment, you're not going to be thinking rationally.
No.
You're going to maybe say or do something that you will regret. And it's just not a good thing. I've learned that when I'm upset, the best thing for me to do is just cool off, cool your
Right.
jets, get your mind together, talk to people who are wise and supportive of you. That's gonna, well, I call it, talk you off of a ledge. Before you jump off and pop off, talk to your people who are really level headed, and they'll say, okay, I understand. Say what you want to say. You got to have those people that you can vent with. I can't believe they did this, not this and this and this. And then after you get all of that out your system, then you got to think about what is the logical decision, what is the best thing for me. And most of the time, it's for you to give yourself time to think before you say something.
Yeah. That's just it. That's what I know. That's what I learned a lot about when I was in therapy about the first betrayal. It was family there too. Okay. So that's how come I can let myself go there. I can let myself, shock is the first thing and through the grieving process. And then after you get through the shock, you pissed off, angry, mad. You want to do something. You know what I'm saying? You have to know the grieving process to know where you are. Before, I had no idea what the grieving process was. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know it was a part of betrayal. I didn't know it was a part of the love and hate thing. I didn't know any of that until I had to go to therapy for a lot of other things in my life. Okay. And that was one of the best moves I made is when I sit down in that chair and said, help me.
Mhm.
Okay. And through all of that help, I learned so many things about Geo, and I learned how to think healthier. So I'm just grateful, Marlene, that I have. That's how I know I have good recovery today, because I did not call her or the other crazy one. I did not act out. I didn't act out with my family. I called Marlene, me and Marlene had a session, yeah. But I can't
Mhm.
do that with my family because they go over there and do something. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm in recovery today because I didn't do anything bad. And I wanted to come and just share with you guys that it's okay to feel your feelings. It's okay to feel that anger. It's what you do with it.
Yep.
You have to be healthy enough to know that doing something bad to another person ain't gonna solve the issue, because that issue is still gonna be right there. It takes forgiveness. So for forgiveness, it takes time sometimes. And so you have to back away from the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have to give it to God, which I did, and say, you fix it. Because if I go over there, it ain't going to be no fixing, because I'm taking 3, 4 of my sisters with me,
The answer is gonna be a beat down, because
Yeah,
I'm
it's
telling
gonna
you
be
that.
a beat down. So, if this is the way I talk to God. I ain't telling nobody else to talk to God like that, but I'm just straight up honest with it. I don't have time to sugarcoat it because of what I've been through in my life. Okay, so I don't sugarcoat nothing, because for what? It ain't gonna help me. I come up with the truth, what I want to do to you, but that don't mean I'm gonna do it. It could be all up in my head, or I could call somebody I trust with the information what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? But that don't mean I'm gonna do it. I'm just taking care of myself. Marlene, so that I won't do it. And ain't nothing wrong with that. A lot of people just push their feelings down and down. And something else happened, down. Something else happened, down. Something else happened, and you didn't kill somebody.
Yeah.
See,
See,
that's
and
what I learned about feelings.
yeah, I'm glad you said that, Gio, because look how often you'll see somebody like that, and you or you watch these crime shows, and one day they said there was such a nice person. Like, why did they just snap like that? Why did they do that? And it's all because of not dealing with unresolved issues.
Thank you.
As as an adult, we all have things that happen to us, people that hurt us, offend us, annoy us. But you have to come to that space of saying, you know what? I did the best that I can. And this situation happened, and I learned something from it. And what I learned from it is that I can't trust them. I learned that I deserve better. There's always lessons in every situation in life you can take from it. And I have learned to choose to not be bitter. I choose to not go lower myself to other people's level. You still keep your maturity. You
Right,
continue to be healed. You keep your peace. Don't let other people make you go the opposite way. You
right.
still continue to be the person that you are supposed to be, but it doesn't mean that we don't have feelings. We're not robots. We still, even though we try to be positive people, healthy people, do the right thing, we still have feelings.
Right. So if you need to learn how to deal with those feelings. See, that's what I didn't know how to do because no one taught me how. In my family where I come from, everybody was dysfunctional. Mama, daddy, all of them. And I love them all. Okay? And they did the best they could with what they had. I learned that in therapy because I used to be mad at my parents. But
Yes.
today I understand after went through therapy myself and I had to go back to when that hurt came from my family, find out what it was. I also learned that maybe something happened to my father, maybe something happened to my mother. They didn't have the tools to deal with it. And so this is how we came out. You know, I had to go back and look at that and learn. And I'm like, damn, they just did the best they could with what they had. I got a chance to do better. I got a chance to break the cycle. And that's exactly what I did because I put my kid right in therapy too. Because I don't know how much of that crazy me she got. Okay. But today my kid on her own business. She's doing well. She make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And she always say, thank you, mom, for doing that for me. Because she was pissed that I did that.
Right.
But I stood my ground. I became a mother that day. I said, oh no, you're not gonna turn out like me. All of that. I didn't want her to have that. I wanted her to be better. So all I know is you cannot hide your feelings. You have to have your feelings. You have to say I'm mad or I'm angry, or however you want to say it. But right in the grieving process, I pulled it up because I wanted to make sure that I can tell you guys exactly what it is. It is shock and denial. The first one is shock and denial. Okay, because I was so shocked that that happened. And this person called me on the phone and told me, I'm married at so and so, and they going to jail. I'm like, who are you talking about, and what's going on? Child, when she told me what it was, I said, girl, please, don't you know that ain't happened? You know, whatever. So, first of all, I was shocked, and then I was kind of in denial because I didn't think they was going to do nothing, right? So, that was the first, that's the first of the grieving process. The second part is pain and guilt. I ain't have no guilt because I ain't do nothing. But the pain of the family being split was a lot for me. I was like, what? And it still is. And I think that's where I'm at. It's
Yep.
painful
Yeah, it's very.
because we all we got. My God. So that's number two. And number three is anger and bargaining. Number four is depression and loneliness. I don't want to go there. Okay. And then when you get to number five, which is acceptance and hope, is where I want to be. But because it's a family member and such a big loss, you have to go through all of that in order to forgive, in order to get through with that betrayal. But that doesn't mean that you have to be with this person and kick it in, because it'll never be the same.
Mhm.
It'll
And
never be
Jill,
the same.
and Jill, and with that, when people don't understand that in the part of going to the forgiveness part, after you've accepted what it is and you've moved
Yeah.
past the anger part, and now you're to the part where you don't want to hold it anymore. Like, because it does, it will overwhelm you. It will be on your mind, and you'll be talking to yourself, oh, I can't believe they did this to me, I can't believe, like, it will control you. It will affect your mental
Yes.
health, your physical health. It will affect all of your relationships if you do not forgive them. And a lot of people don't understand that forgiveness does not mean that you are saying what they did was okay. Forgiveness means that you forgive the situation, you forgive what they did, you forgive the anger so that you don't harm yourself or you don't harm them. And that is something
Right.
that we have to remember, that if you don't forgive them for what they did, you are going to bring pain and hurt to other people in your life.
Right.
Because this happened to me. When you're mad about what somebody else did and then you start venting, you start screaming, or you say something rude or nasty to people that have done nothing to you, and it's all because of unresolved issues. So I had to learn that
Yes.
part. I had to learn to forgive them so that I didn't hurt other people that I love.
That's true, because anger and pain comes out sideways. That is what my therapist told me. And at first, I didn't understand what she was talking about, but I acted like I did. But I had no clue. She talking about, oh yeah, if you don't give that up and give it to God and let God do His thing while you go and do something else, that anger is going to come out. That sadness is going to come out sideways, and you're going to hurt other people. I
Yeah,
just looked at her like, "But what is she talking about?"
yeah.
Until
Mhm.
I understood it when I went off on somebody, and they really didn't do nothing that bad. Like,
Mhm.
why? And just so happened this person was a very good friend of mine. And they say, Gio, I know I have not done nothing to you. What is going on with you? What are you hurting about? And I stopped and I said, oh my God, that's what she meant.
Yep.
And so when I went back to my therapist, I said, whatever it is I need to work on, whatever other unresolved issues that I need to work on, I'm willing to work on them. I said, you've been trying to get me to work with my inner child. And I don't want to work with that because that's where most of the pain is. With that little girl, that little Geo, that teenager that got hurt. And so you have to go back. Sometimes you have to go back to where that pain really is in order to heal it. And that takes courage, baby. And another thing is, for me, yes, it took courage, but the main thing is that I wanted to be free. I wanted to be
Mhm.
free of all that pain. I wanted to be a better person. I didn't want to do what I did to my friend. We almost lost my relationship with this girl. You know what I'm saying? Because I had unresolved issues that I took out on her. So that made me realize that I needed to work hard and do what my therapist asked me to do. And today I don't do that. I'm healed from
And
a lot of that stuff from my inner child. Thank you, Jesus. I didn't know, Marlene. I didn't know how it affected me.
yeah, we
It's
don't
hard.
we don't understand, like sometimes, like when you're in it, when you're in that pain and that betrayal and that sadness and anger, you really don't feel like you feel like you're coping very well. Like you'll lie to yourself, you'll be in very much denial. Oh yeah, I'm good, because we tell ourselves that we're okay because it's a form of like a coping mechanism. Oh no,
Right.
I'm fine, I'm good, I'm good. And we know that we're not. And if we don't give ourselves, time to take a break, to process our mental and emotional health, and also how it's affecting our physical health, because I have seen people that I really care about, like, just fixate on it. Just always, that's all they talk about. It has consumed them. They did this, they did this, they did this. And next thing, it's starting to affect their health. All kinds of ailments are happening to them. They get very sick because they do not confront the issues that they have been facing, and they refuse to let it go. You know, and one of the things is very hard to be in that space to say, this person betrayed me, backstabbed me, used me, abused me, did all of this stuff. And to forgive them is very hard, but the forgiveness doesn't mean that you're saying what they did was okay. The forgiveness means I am going to let this go so I can have peace.
Right.
I'm going to forgive this go so I can have my life back. I'm going to forgive this so I can be able to sleep at night, rest, a restful sleep. Because when I can't speak for everybody, but when I'm upset about something, I can't sleep. I'll be tossing and turning, I'll, doing all kinds of stuff. And, I can't sleep when I have some anger on my heart.
Well, yeah, forgiveness is for you. It is. But to be on the real, Marlene, it takes a while to get to forgiveness. It ain't
Yes,
like you gonna wake up when somebody hurts you that bad, where they bring you to tears. Trust me, you ain't gonna wake up the next day and tell me, "Oh, yeah." Please,
yes,
okay? It's gonna take time, and it's okay. It's gonna take time to forgive folks. You go through that grieving process. It is attached to it. If you don't understand it, look it up. And then you'll find your place and you'll say, oh, I'm right here. Because when you know where you are in your emotions, you can handle it better, you know?
yes.
And you won't, kind of beat yourself up because you can't forgive the next day. Child, I can't forgive the next day. I ain't gonna lie. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It might take me 2 years to forgive you. But during that time, I'm going through the grieving process. I have time to not be so mad at you every day. You know what I'm trying to say, Marlene? Like the more time I get, the more that feeling of hurt and all that goes away, which leads me to forgiving you. But the thing is that I'm really forgiving it for myself, because that don't mean that I have to hang around you after I forgive you. I can be cordial. Hey girl, what's up? But that don't mean I'm gonna tell you nothing about my life. That don't mean I
That
want to hang out with you. I
that
don't
that
want to
don't
go
that
to.
don't, that
Go ahead.
doesn't mean that doesn't mean that it'll ever be the same like it used to be. When
Thank
you
you.
That's what people don't understand. They think that they can do things to you to hurt you, and they think that just saying I forgive you means, oh, everything is back like it used to be. We're going to do what we used to do. Or in cases of romantic relationships, it doesn't mean that you're going to stay together. People don't
No,
understand that part. Forgiving people means I forgive you so that I don't want to beat you down, or you know or do something to bring you physical or
Right.
emotional, mental, or spiritual harm. Uh, the forgiveness means I forgive you so that you can move on with your life. I forgive you so that I don't have hate in my heart for you or even myself. And also a part of that, Gio, in the forgiveness part is also where you come to the space of saying, but what did I allow?
Yeah.
Not all in all cases, but sometimes we saw the red flags. We saw that a person wasn't good for us. We saw that a person did so many wrong things to us, but we let it continue on. And that is the
Yeah.
part that we have to feel and forgive in ourselves too. So it's a dual side. You have to forgive the person who did wrong, but you also have to forgive yourself with, why did I allow this to happen for so long? Why
Yeah,
did I
and then
cut
the
you
thing
off?
is, sometimes you didn't play a part in it. Like what I'm going through, I ain't play no part in this here. But what I could play a part in, I can't, you know. But what I'm saying is that I understand, for me, and I can only speak for me, Marlene. It just takes me a while, you know. But during that time, I'm letting go little by little by little by little to get to forgiveness. I just can't do it overnight. Mm-mm.
I I understand that. I understand that, Gio, and that's real. There's a lot of people, not just on social media, but in real life, that will be like, "Oh yeah, I forgive you," and inside they know that they don't. And I'm not the type of person that is going to say I forgive somebody if I don't. I have to go through all the phases like you talked about. I have to accept it. I have to be angry. I have to ask myself, why did I allow things, if it was anything that I should have done wrong? I
Right.
should have stopped allowing. And then I have to get to the space of not only forgiving them, but forgiving myself, you know. And that part is a little tricky sometimes. Go ahead, Gio.
All the people out here, Marlene, they don't even know that they did nothing. They don't know. How can I say this? I don't mean that they did nothing. That's not what I wanted to say. Is they don't know how to know what they feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like they just push it down and say, "Oh, this always happened to me." Why all the time I get people in my life that betray me. You understand what I'm saying? Like they don't understand why that they have these type of people in their lives. Like I didn't understand why I picked these certain people to be in my life because that's all I knew. That's all I knew to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So
Toxicity.
I don't know if you can explain that better than me,
I
Marlene.
I would just say that when until you learn to love yourself, until you have your own relationship and your own friendship with yourself, what I how I would say that is, until you know yourself and love yourself and friend yourself, there's certain things that you just won't allow. When you have a
Right,
relationship with yourself, when you know what you deserve, you're not going to allow people to mistreat you. You're not going to choose certain friendships and romantic relationships because you know that I don't got to settle for that. I don't got to take that. You want better and you know better for yourself. So you don't put yourself in situations and choose certain people just because of that. And I think that's where it starts with healing and moving forward in your life, in every situation that we go through, with betrayal, with someone doing something to us that makes us, where we could go to that fork in the road. You can go to the left where it's hatred, or you can go to the right where there's peace and calm and serenity and personal growth. And that's the thing that I learned in working on myself, Gio, and being the woman that I am today. That Yes, many times in my life, I could have made that choice to be angry and bitter. And I did that for many years, sitting around sulking, always, oh, and I can't believe they did that. And years and years and years talking about it, and you don't let it go. When you do that, you also stop your life. You stop your blessings. You stop your peace too.
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like most people, they say they forgive, but they really don't. And then they wonder why they keep reacting to certain things, the same way all the time. I am just so glad that I went and got myself some help. Lord have mercy. And I saw a comment, I think it was by Creatively. She said the hardest part is to forgive yourself. And that's true because I went through that too. And the only way I did it, and I could do it much easy today to forgive me, I could just say, okay, I made a mistake. The mistake I made was this, this, and this, and this. And I have learned that from that this and this, and I ain't gonna do that no more. Okay, it's okay to make mistakes, but you have to own your mistakes. But let me just tell y'all this: how I actually really forgave myself for a lot of the things because I was wrong too. For how I was and how I treated people, and I needed to forgive myself for that. My therapist helped me with that. She said, "Get a piece of paper." Here we go again, y'all. I didn't know what she
Yep.
was talking about, but I just did it anyway. And it helped me get back to God anyway. Okay. She said, get a piece of paper, put it on your refrigerator, because that's where we go most of the time. Put on there, I forgive you, Gio, and I release you to Jesus Christ. Because that's who my higher power is. I don't know who what you believe in, but whatever you believe in, if it's higher than the problem, child, put it on the paper. Okay. So I wrote that. I forgive you, Gio, and I release you to Jesus Christ. Because that's where love is. That's where happiness is. That's who I want to be. I want that. So you have to want it. And I didn't know how to get it. But I do know this that my therapist, she said, you have to say this every day. Every time you go to that refrigerator, I want you to stop and say that. And one day,
You're going to be free.
yeah, I was free.
Yep.
And these tears are not about sadness. They are really about joy because when you go back and you think about where you was long time ago, compare it to where you are today. If you don't feel something wrong. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It just, these are tears of joy that today I can forgive myself on the spur of the moment. I can't do that too much with other people that hurt me as bad as this family member did, but I'm working on it. And then there are other situations where I can just forgive on the spot because these people like that close to me. You know what I'm saying? But today, the thing that I really love about myself is that when I make mistakes and stuff like that, I don't have to be mean to me. I can just forgive me. And it's
Yes.
okay. And back then, I couldn't because I didn't know how. And all of that led me back to a power greater than me, which I asked, please, God, take me back. I'm sorry I left.
Yep.
And that is why I love to talk about it, and because I'm really real and passionate about recovery from whatever you're going through. If you can afford to go to somebody, just let them help you, but go there with an open mind and just tell the truth.
Yep. And thank you so much, Gio, for opening your heart and to share because it's not easy. it's not easy to get on a live stream and to open up your heart and to share things that you went through. So thank you so much for your bravery and courage. I want to read a comment from Charlene. Hey, Charlene. She says, Marlene, this is true. And sometimes you don't have to play a part in wrongdoing and disrespect. And it takes time to heal from that. That's a normal reaction if you've been hurt and did no wrong to them. Yes, that's so true, Charlene. Just like Gio was sharing, sometimes we don't play a role. Sometimes we haven't done anything, but also you may not have done anything, but also we are also responsible for letting ourselves heal from it. And
Yeah.
that was something that was a hard thing for me to say, Marlene, it's time to let it go. It's time to give it away. It's time for you to stop carrying this burden in your head, on your heart, on your back, taking it out on other people, letting it stop you. And I can say for me, Gio, I can't speak for everybody, but when I'm going through something, if I'm upset with somebody, if I feel like somebody hurt me or did something to me, I cannot complete any task. I cannot get focused on what I'm supposed to be doing in my life because when I'm angry, all I can think about is my anger. I can't think of anything other than my anger. And when I finally let it go and I give it to God and I tell myself that that is what happened and that was the past. Today you have learned something from it. You have grown. You have matured and you're better for it. I think that that's the line of demarcation. That's the line of, from love to hate, where it's a very thin line where you have to make that decision. Am I going to stay in hate? Am I going to hate you for the rest of my life? Or am I going to cross that line and say, no, I'm not going to stay there. I deserve better. And it's not for that other person who hurt you, it's for you. It's for your future, it's for your peace and your healing. And
Yeah.
it's really that deep. People don't understand it really is that deep. It's people think that forgiveness is that you're just saying, oh, what they did was okay. No, you're saying what you did was wrong, but I'm not going to allow it to take away from me living my life anymore.
Yeah. Oh, this has been a topic. But
It's been a topic.
right. But every time I come on Marlene Motivate and I share, because I don't come on here just sharing from the surface sometimes. Sometimes I come on here because I need to share, you know, and I always walk away from here feeling very good. Like, okay, I didn't let some more go, you know, and all I can tell y'all is that thin line between love and hate. That's why so many people do crazy things and snap and stuff because we don't understand what has built up inside of us. We know it's and most people will say, okay, this is the last time somebody gonna hurt me. And then you snap and then you do something. My therapist told me this. She said, you don't want to be one of them kind of people that keep pushing down your feelings, pushing, and then when that last person do one thing to you, that's it. You either beat them down or whatever you gonna do. Don't be
Yep,
that way.
it's just like a volcano. It stays dormant and one day it just blows its top. And we don't want to be like that. And that's how it can be when you lie to yourself. Oh no, I'm good. Oh no, I'm okay. And lying to yourself and walking around with this plastic smile because I'm gonna be honest, Gio. In this day-to-day life, we have adulting to do. You got responsibilities. Your life is still gonna go on, and there's things that you do have to do. But also, you have to give yourself time to say, "Okay, I gotta face this issue. I gotta heal myself. It's time to let go of that anger." And
Yeah.
it takes courage.
Yeah, but the thing is, once you let go, a lot of people stay angry because they don't know nothing else. And they are afraid to get on the other side of that anger. Okay? On the other side of anger is child is just peace and joy and happiness. Okay? I'ma always be striving on how to do life better. Okay? I'm gonna always be striving to be a better person. I'm gonna always be striving to try to be healthier in my thinking. And today, like you said, Marlene, when you get pissed off or angry, nothing gets done. Me, I'm the
Yeah.
opposite. I go work.
Yeah. Nope.
I will come in here, I will make a video, 3, 4 videos, whatever it is, because I'm gonna tell you why I do that. Because at the time I'm so angry that I'm afraid that I might do something. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like call up the person. So what I do is I come in here, I find something else to do to take my mind off of it. And then once I'm done with all of that, and then I come back and I'm go, oh, I'm so glad I didn't call that person. I'm glad I came in. So
yeah.
sometimes you have to have an out. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Like to have something else to put in place of that so that you can process it better. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
I wonder if a lot of people understand the processing part.
Yeah. I wanted to mention what Miss Carol said, displace anger. And that's just what it is, Gio. You are looking at other people, and people will take out their anger from another person on their innocent children,
Yeah,
maybe your spouse, your friends, and other loved ones have nothing to do with it. And it's not easy to say, I'm angry, and then do something and ask yourself, why am I angry? And get to the bottom of it, because as mature people that we are, motivators family, we are not just going to say, I'm angry and whatever, and I'm over it, and ignore it. Silence is not the
hmm,
answer, because that's how I grew up. Oh, I don't want to talk about it, and for your I'm not talking about it, or it don't matter, and it matters to you. Don't lie to yourself. It's time for us to move past those toxic habits and behaviors and say, you know what? I am angry, and this is what I'm angry about, and this is what I'm going to do. And then you go through the steps, talking about it, maybe getting a coach, a therapist, a friend, doing things to get it out and release it, maybe going for a walk, or giving back and helping other people in the community. There's a lot of things that we can do that can help us to expel that inside,
right.
that pent up anger.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to release it, because if you don't release it in a healthy way, you're going to release it in a toxic way.
That's what I'm talking about. And that's one of the things I learned in therapy is to do to replace that anger with something else that's healthier than going and doing something that's not. That you're gonna feel bad about. Or why I let that person bring me out my character and this and that and that. Some people that you need to get on their butt, okay? But you get on it in a healthier way. That's what I'm only speaking for me because have to be honest with myself. If you do something to me right there in the moment and you right there in my face, yeah, I'm gonna say something, you know.
Hmm.
But I might say, no, why did you do that? Because when you did that, that made me feel that this such and such a way. That's what I have learned today. That's what I have
Yeah.
learned. And it took practice. Now, you think I
Yeah.
learned that overnight? No.
Nope.
I still would tell people I was like that. But through practicing the skills that I have learned in therapy, I have learned to say, when you did that, that made me feel this way. And so, you know what I'm saying? So what happens is to the other person is their wall don't go up and ready for a fight. Because you didn't say, well, you did this and that. And you know how we do our head and stuff and ready to fight. Well, I don't do that anymore. I done got smarter, healthier, and
Yeah.
just say, look, I
Yeah.
know you're upset, but when you did this, I felt this way. And if you can do that in your romantic relationship, that's even better because you in control. You know what I'm saying? It's even better because when you're trying to talk to your partner or whatever, and they, all mad and stuff, you would say it like that, they're going to calm down and they're going to listen. Probably for the first time in their life, they really are listening to you. I practiced that with my husband, Philip. My husband Philip is not here with us anymore, but I practiced that with him. He used to get mad at me and say, "Oh, you using your therapy stuff?" I say, "Philip,
Yeah.
I really want our marriage, so let me use that, okay?" And he used to just laugh. He said, "Okay, I'm listening." At first he was like, because he knew me and we had no secrets. And then he be saying I be practicing therapy on him. I said, well, I'm not practicing therapy on you. I'm the one that's in therapy, not you. And what it was affecting him because he was used to being seeing the old Geo. You
Yeah. He was
understand?
he was used to the confrontation and the yelling and the arguing, and
And it wasn't
I
happening no more. Right.
and it wasn't happening anymore. And the same thing for me, Gio. I learned when I got healthier, so did my behaviors and my habits. When I started to really say, screaming and yelling doesn't accomplish nothing. It not only
Mm-hmm.
frustrates the person that you're yelling at, you frustrate yourself, you make your blood pressure go up. And I had to learn that when I'm upset, and I will tell myself this is a good time for me to walk away and take a break. And then I'll sit there and I'll take a few deep breaths, I'll calm down, go for a walk, journal, text, whatever, go to the gym, do what I need to. And then when I'm back to a mode where I'm thinking calmly, then I say, okay, I don't know what happened. I don't know if you're maybe having a bad day, but when you said this is how it made me feel. I don't know if you meant to do or say this, but it offended me. And then you're not saying they're a bad person, because that, I think that's how it used to be for me before. I used to say, you're mean, oh, you're evil, or you meant to hurt me. And I had to stop taking everything so personally. That's the way that I was raised, Gio, to always like say things to like cut people at their heart, like to put people down, hurt people's feelings, because that's just what you did when you're toxic. And I had to learn that there's better ways that you need to communicate, and you can be nice, but and at the same time let people know that what they did was not acceptable.
Yeah. And I practice that a lot on my husband because I was like, most people gonna call us angry black women, but we're not. We just
No.
expressive, baby, and we more expressive when you did hurt our feelings. But I've learned to like pull back a little bit from that because it's a time and a place. But I'm gonna always be a black girl, okay? And I'm very emotional, okay? And when you hurt me, I'm gonna be emotional. But I have really learned how to pull back, and say, hold up, let me just take a breath.
Yeah,
I say, okay.
I
And
agree,
within,
Jill.
yeah, and within that breath, what you're doing is you're just calming yourself down to think better. And then you speak. After I learned this from my therapist. My therapist was a Spanish girl. She was very good at what she did because she really has helped me. And she said, and as you are breathing, taking that breath, and she said, "This on." She said, "Do it slowly. By the time you finish, you're going to be in another whole setting to where you can express yourself better without the neck rolling and all of this here stuff. Because what that do is it puts a wall up with the other person, and they ain't gonna hear you. They gonna be ready for a fight. So I practice this on. Wait a minute, I practiced this on my husband, and he was like, at the end, he finally got it. He said, "You don't do what you used to do no more." I said, "No." I said, "What good they're gonna do is all it's gonna do is you divorce and I'm divorced." You know what I'm saying? We want a divorce. I said, but if we really listen to one another, and cause see, I don't know what I said that may have set him off. You see? So he has to have the courage to tell me, well, when you said such and such and such, and I felt this, and that's how come I said that. Then I know I can say to him, I will work on that. And that's how we did it. I will work on that. I will work to change that. And make sure that you work to change that. Just don't say it that one time. Because if you know that's what set your husband off or boyfriend or whatever, work to change it because you want to keep the relationship. If you
Yeah,
don't work on it.
you're right. And you're right about that, Gio, because the thing about it is that we have to want to improve and be better women and be better men. You that has to be inside of us, and until you face your issues, those skeletons in the closet, you can't be in a space to hear anybody else, because it's a very loud noise when you have unresolved issues. You can't listen to other people, support people, and be there for anybody until you learn how to be there for yourself. And once I learned me, and I know when I'm upset, and I learned that from you and some and my mentor and coaches, and just being around people who are healthy and healed. My go-to used to always be when I was upset, I would hold it inside, and then later I would just snap. Now I've learned from you and other healthier people that if you have something, you need to deal with it right then and there after you calm down, of course. But my thing used to always be I would hold it, and then you have something against them, and it keeps adding up, and that's not good. I had to learn that if I have an issue, okay, I said I'm going to calm down, and I'll say this. Right now, I'm kind of upset. So I can't really say what I want to say without being rude. So just give me a few minutes and then we'll talk. Because before I don't want to talk, and I'd be rolling my hand and you this and you that, you know. So I had to learn how to not be and you, and also think about, also it's not just what other people do, it's also how we act. If somebody is opening up their heart to tell us something, and you up there rolling your eyes, how are you helping the situation?
You're not. You're not, because once you start rolling your eyes while they talk, this girl don't even hear me. She ain't trying to hear what I'm trying to say. She ain't trying to. It's like they put up an even bigger wall, and the and a lot of the stuff I learned, like I said, was through therapy. I had no idea I was unhealthy like that. But today, if I decide, or if God decides to put a romantic relationship in my life, they're gonna have the best of me, and they're gonna have to come on with it, because I ain't the one that's gonna be abused. I ain't the one that's gonna be emotional abuse. Nor am I gonna be abusive to you. I want to be happy, and I want to be able to be myself, and I want to be able to tell you when you do something that make me feel a certain way, and I want to do it without the neck rolling and all of that. I can do that today. Okay? I can do that today. I'm a healthy woman today, you know? And if, like I said, God put somebody in my life, you're gonna have to come on with it, because Geo ain't I'm not gonna just accept no anybody in my life. My husband that I had before all of this was a good man. He was. He knew everything about me. He knew the little things. He knew how to. He was just really good to me. Okay, I didn't have to pay not a rent, nothing. Okay, so I'm like, well, where am I gonna find this again? No, you're gonna find better. You know what I'm saying? I want
And
better. Go ahead.
and
Mama.
I'm so grateful that you talk about knowing healthy relationships, and it matters. When you become healthier, you choose healthier people. And I know, since things happen to me in my life, grief and etc., I think a lot of things that happen to us in our life, either it's going to improve us and make us be better women or men, or we're going to become worse. You can point your fingers and blame other people and say they did this to me. And I did that for a while, say, because people have done things that has hurt me, and I know for sure that people have done things to hurt my motivators family. But also, you have to get to the point where say, yes, they did this, but also, what was my attitude? Did I properly? Did I tell them how I feel? And when they said something that triggered me, so there's also it's multifaceted. There's more than one thing. It's not just it's you. Also, did we communicate properly? Did we support our mental health? Did we take a break? Did we get some counseling? Do we have healthy relationships where we can, be able to have people that will say, did you forgive them? Did you tell them how you feel? And et cetera, et cetera. And also for us too, when people hurt us, we also hurt people too. And we have to accept that. That was hard for me to accept that too, that it wasn't just other people hurting us. We hurt people too, and just as we want to get have people forgive us, we also need to be doing forgiving of others too. Not letting people run over us like a doormat, but when we do wrong, to admit it and to be accountable to that part. That's maturity.
In my life, maturity, because that's what I have strived to be, to get to a mature adult, that can talk about things without being, the neck rolling and whatever. I have worked really hard to be this person I am today. I'm a good person. I love people. I help people. I, I just when I help people, and I don't even ask for nothing in return, do I, Marlene? I just help people. And when I see the light in their eyes, like, thank you, Miss Chia. Oh, thank you, thank you. That's what makes me happy. You know what I'm saying? That I get many, many blessings. Thank you, Jesus, for and not for it. It is because that's who I am. First of all, you got to find out who you are. What's your purpose here? What you supposed to be doing? You need to put that focus on you and not compare yourself to other folks. Because then that's when that love hate stuff come up in here. I don't care what other people do on this platform. I just know what God is giving me and what I'm going to do on this platform. I'm not going to compare myself with Marlene. God already gave her gifts. Those are hers. You know what I'm saying? I just need to focus on what he gave me and be a better person. And that is one of the reasons that I'm so happy I went to therapy. And not God broke me down at work in front of all them folks. I couldn't raise my head. I couldn't do nothing but cry. And oh God, it was just and that man, the CEO of the company told me I was so good at my job, y'all. He told me I didn't have to worry about no rent being paid. Just go to therapy. Don't come back for 30 days. Go to therapy. And that's what I did. And God did that for me.
I'm back.
And I didn't even know because I was too unhealthy to realize what a miracle God had performed in my life. And that's how come I can get up here and tell you the truth about me. All I am is a precious child of God, and all I'm trying to do is make it to heaven to see my mama again. That's it. So that's how
Oh,
come I work on myself. And whenever Marlene asks me to come on here and share, even though I don't want to have time, but I'll do it.
yeah, she don't want it. She don't want to do it, y'all. But I wanted to highlight a comment from Miss Carol. Miss Carol says she would like to get more content about healing. I can't find the comment now, but about support for people. And I'm going to do some more of that. Good suggestion, Miss Carol. And this has been a great topic, everybody. And I'm always going to advocate for people to do the right thing. There's a lot of things that people put on social media, get back at people, get even, do this, and it never turns out a good way, guys.
Yeah,
You do the right thing, heal, forgive. Sometimes the best thing that can ever happen to you in your life is letting yourself move on, letting yourself let it go and giving it away and moving aside from that and focusing on the present and today, because I believe every day is a gift.
right.
And why spend the gift of your day in misery and anger? you know Life is too
Yeah,
short. You don't know if
it
this is your
is.
last day.
Well, she said that Miss Carol do. She said I would love to have content
Yeah,
for survivors to move past pain and living a joyful life. Thank you for the content today.
yeah,
You're welcome, Miss Carol.
that's what.
I'm sure Marlene can come up with all kinds of stuff because that's her gift. She can sit up here,
Yes.
come up with a topic, and just know what to say. Me, I got to go research. But Marlene is the best motivator and the best person to come to listen to if you want to learn how to move past pain and guilt and sorrow in your life. Marlene Motivate is the place to be.
Yeah.
That's what attracted me to Marlene
Well,
in the first place because I didn't know who she was. I just saw her out. And her channel back then was called Living Your Best Life. So that name there got me. And so the first time I saw her go live, well, I ain't gonna tell you the first time, but after a couple of times she went live, she started talking about how she went to therapy and this and that. And I said, now she talking my language. And I just kept coming back, and some kind of way we became friends, right, Marlene? So that's how I know Marlene. And we've been friends since 2019, and we have met in person. So, and I just love her. So if you guys really want the real thing, Marlene Motivate is where you should be. And every now and then I come on here and tell y'all what I think or what I've been through. Okay. And how God has healed my life. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm so grateful that to have this discussion, because I know that a lot of my motivators needs to hear this. There's a lot that goes on in people's life: grief, sadness, betrayal, being bullied, and the list goes on and on. But the whole thing about it is we can't do anything about what other people do, but what we can control is our reaction to it. And that's where the personal growth and development comes in. They may have done you wrong, but don't let it keep you stuck. Get yourself some help, forgive them, and move on with your life, because I know for sure when I forgive people, I get stronger. I find better friends. You find better relationships. You feel healthier. Your weight is under better control. It does so much thing. I have restful sleep. There's so many gifts. There's so much blessings that we get from doing the right thing and the best thing for us. And the best thing for us is to get help and to say, I'm not going to stay stuck and I'm not going to keep harboring resentment. I know that it's not easy. I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, it's easy. Just forgive them and let, no, it may take you months, it may take you years, but you can get there if you're just got to be patient with yourself and seek help and find really good friends and join some support groups. There's things that we can do so that we don't hate other people. So, great topic, Gio. Any last words? Mm.
Because once she told me she couldn't help me no more, and I was just using her as a crutch, and I needed to go out here and live my life. I was so mad. Because I would go there after 5 whole years, y'all. I would go there and say, well, I'm going to do this and this. What you think about it? She said, what you think about it? I said, well, I think I should do it. She said, this is why I can't see you anymore. Was like, what? She said, but I'm not going to just leave you out there by yourself. Here are 3 support groups you can go to. And they were free. And I'm so glad I went. I went for a good 10 years to these 3 support groups. And they really have helped me as well because what it did was it let me know that I am not alone, that
Yes.
everybody go through something, and that I had real friends in that support group, you know and I still talk to the people in the support groups, you know because they are my friends. What can I say? And we done been through the same thing, and we made it, Marlene. We made
Yes. We made it, Gio. And I'm proud of you that you made it. And, shout out to all of the survivors. And I'm going to be doing some survivor discussions and talk about some things, surviving certain situations and things, bring some heavier topics that will help my motivators family. But I wanted to say to everybody that we have choices. And I want you to make a choice to think about your mental health, to think about your spiritual, your physical, your financial health. You got to take care of you first. Because if you don't, you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life.
yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Gio, and thank you to everybody who is here. Shout out to all of the mods. Shout out to the channel members and anybody who's new here. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and also go over to Friends with Super Channels, Boss Life Online, Team Bill with Gio, Geo Vlogs H Town. You know, we're both content creators of multiple channels, and we're very supportive of each other. But I just wanted to say to everybody, it's a thin line between love and hate. Make a choice to go over to love instead of hate. Okay. Yes. Thank you, everybody. Bye.